What if one lie could cost everything, instantly? What happens when truth is twisted in a place meant to be holy? And why would a moment of deception bring such a sudden, shocking consequence? In the early days of the church, something powerful was happening. People were coming together in unity, sharing what they had, living with open hearts. Faith was not just something they spoke, it was something they lived. There was trust, there was generosity, there was a deep sense that God was moving among them in a real and undeniable way. But in the middle of this growing community, a story unfolded that would leave a lasting impact. A man named Ananias, along with his wife Sapphira, made a decision. They owned a piece of property, and like others in the community, they chose to sell it. There was nothing wrong with that. In fact, many believers had done the same. They sold what they had and brought the money forward to support those in need. But Ananias and Sapphira had a different plan. They agreed together to keep part of the money for themselves. Again, this alone was not the problem. The issue was not in keeping a portion. It was in pretending they had given everything. They wanted the appearance of full sacrifice without actually making it. They wanted recognition without complete honesty. So Ananias took part of the money and brought it to the apostles, presenting it as if it were the full amount. On the surface, everything looked right, but something deeper was wrong. Peter, filled with spiritual discernment, saw beyond the action and into the heart. He asked a direct question. Why had Ananias allowed deception to take hold? Why present a lie not just to people, but in a moment that was meant to honor God? The weight of that question was heavy, because this was not just about money. It was about truth. It was about integrity. It was about the condition of the heart in a place where sincerity mattered deeply. And then something shocking happened. Ananias fell down and died. No warning, no delay, just a sudden end. Those who were present were filled with great fear. Not a fear rooted in confusion, but a deep awareness that something sacred had been violated. A few hours later, Sapphira came in, unaware of what had happened. Peter asked her the same question. Was this the full amount? She confirmed the lie. In that moment, she stood at a crossroads, an opportunity to tell the truth, an opportunity to step out of the agreement she had made, but she chose to continue the deception. And just like Ananias, she fell down and died. The room must have been silent, the weight of the moment almost impossible to process. 2 lives ended suddenly. Not because they failed to give everything, but because they chose to lie while pretending to be fully devoted. This story is not easy to hear. It challenges us, it raises questions, it confronts us with a reality that feels intense and uncomfortable. But beneath the surface, there is a message that goes far beyond fear. It speaks about authenticity. It speaks about the danger of pretending. It speaks about the seriousness of bringing falsehood into a space meant for truth. Ananias and Sapphira were not outsiders. They were part of the community. They saw what others were doing. They witnessed generosity and sacrifice. But instead of responding with genuine faith, they responded with imitation. They copied the action, but not the heart. And that difference matters, because faith is not about appearance. It is not about looking right in front of others. It is about being real before God. Sometimes the pressure to appear spiritual can become stronger than the desire to actually be transformed. We compare, we observe, we feel the need to measure up, and slowly, without realizing it, we begin to shape an image instead of living in truth. That is where danger begins, because a life built on appearance cannot sustain itself. It may look strong for a moment, but underneath it is fragile. The story of Ananias and Sapphira exposes that fragility. It reminds us that God is not impressed by performance. He sees the heart, He knows what is hidden, and more importantly, He values truth above all. This does not mean we are expected to be perfect. It means we are invited to be honest. There is a difference. Honesty allows growth. Pretending blocks it. Honesty brings light. Pretending keeps things in the dark. Ananias and Sapphira had the opportunity to be honest. They could have said, "We kept part of it." There would have been no shame in that. But they chose a different path, and their story becomes a powerful reminder, not of punishment alone, but of the importance of integrity in a life of faith. The early church was not just growing in numbers, it was being shaped in truth. And moments like this, though difficult, help define the seriousness of that truth. It showed that this was not just another gathering. This was a place where God's presence was real, where sincerity mattered, where what was hidden could not remain hidden forever. For us today, the application may not look the same on the outside, but the principle remains. Where in our lives are we tempted to appear better than we are? Where do we feel the pressure to impress others instead of being real? Where are we holding back truth while presenting something different? These are not easy questions, but they are important. Because growth begins where honesty begins, and freedom follows truth. There is also another layer to this story, a reminder about agreement. Ananias and Sapphira made a decision together. They supported each other in the wrong direction. This shows how powerful influence can be. The people we align with can either strengthen our integrity or weaken it. Encouragement is not always positive if it leads us away from truth. Sometimes real love challenges. Sometimes real care says this isn't right. But in this case, they moved together into deception, and the result was shared. This invites us to consider the relationships in our lives. Are they leading us toward truth, or are they quietly pulling us away from it? Because alignment matters, and the direction we walk together matters even more. The story also highlights something deeper about reverence. In a time when the presence of God was being revealed in powerful ways, there was a call to honor that presence with sincerity. This was not about fear for the sake of fear. It was about understanding the weight of what was happening. A sacred moment requires a sincere heart, and when that sincerity is replaced with deception, the consequences can be serious. Today, we may not see the same immediate outcomes, but the impact of dishonesty still exists. It erodes trust, it creates distance, it weakens the foundation of our faith. But the opposite is also true. Truth strengthens, honesty builds, integrity creates a life that can stand firm. So this story, as intense as it is, becomes an invitation, not to live in fear, but to live in truth. Not to focus on appearance, but to focus on authenticity. Not to impress, but to be real. Because in the end, what matters is not what others see. It is who we are when no one is watching. It is the quiet decisions, the unseen moments, the honest responses. That is where faith becomes real, and that is where transformation begins. The early church continued to grow, but now with a deeper awareness, a deeper respect, a deeper commitment to truth. And perhaps that is what this story leaves with us, a sense of clarity. A reminder that faith is not about perfection. It is about honesty. It is about alignment between what we say and who we are. And when those two come together, something powerful happens. We become whole. We become grounded. We become real. And in that reality, we find something far greater than approval. We find peace. Thank you for watching this video. If this message made you reflect, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with others. And be sure to watch the full series on Holy Path Insights for more life-changing biblical truths.